Hi, I'm John Kendall, and at Datadog I work on everything related to containers, trying to make your lives easier with them. And in a moment I'm going to talk about the problem of harnessing the complexity of Kubernetes. So many layers of abstraction, and it's a problem that we all know and are trying to deal with. And as R just described how Kubernetes has meant so much to us at Datadog for our own infrastructure, using Kubernetes as a platform, enabling us to scale to serve well over 18,000 customers. The promise of Kubernetes was to make it easy for developers to ship their code on containers. But in reality, it's been hard for some developers that aren't experts at that level to troubleshoot at that level. And so this problem of Kubernetes being complex is a problem that we're trying to solve here, and something we're going to talk about here with how we're going to address that with Datadog. And I can look back to my own experience as a developer when I was a Java developer years ago. I was focused on implementing my business logic and trying to ship it as efficiently as possible, not necessarily trying to be as much of an expert on the infrastructure details as the platform engineers were. And so I'm seeing this today as I talk to people that are Go developers, for example, as they're troubled with having that level of expertise, and platform engineers on the other end of that same team are often burdened with filling in that knowledge gap, and that makes it hard to scale your containers across your whole team. And it's fair when you think about the pace of innovation that's taking place with Kubernetes today. And as a matter of fact, supporting this problem of Kubernetes being complex, the Cloud Native Foundation recently reported that the top challenge in using and deploying containers was complexity. And it's fair when you think about kind of how Kubernetes evolved over the past 7 years. So just quickly going through how it's changed and become more powerful. Starting off, Kubernetes was largely stateless. All you thought about was your pods and your services. Soon after that, a couple years later, you had RBAC plugin becoming graduated to GA status, meaning that you could secure your clusters and manage the authorization so that more serious usage could take place with Kubernetes. And then soon after that, replica sets, deployments, daemon sets, stateful sets, all graduated to GA. More resources than ever. More complicated, but yet more powerful than ever. And if you put yourself in the developer's shoes, it's unreasonable for them to be a Go developer expert and having to maintain all the complexity of what exists within Kubernetes and troubleshooting at that layer. And on top of that, when I look at the data and how Datadog customers themselves are evolving, their own microservice architectures are becoming more sophisticated and more powerful, more microservices than ever. We reported in our most recent container report that per customer, on average, the number of pods has been doubling. Also supporting the complexity of managing container environments today, we found that container environments, on average had a higher amount of monitors, supporting the issue of people having to manage the complexity across the team, across your developers, across platform engineering. And so to quickly recap, when you think about this pace of innovation and growing the complexity of Kubernetes, as well as your own applications themselves on containers and Kubernetes, Datadog is coming alongside you in that journey with our Live Containers product, and we will continue to innovate to ensure that you're able to knock down the silos and be able to make it simple for everyone on your team to troubleshoot at that level. So as a reminder, Live Container has been around since 2017, and it is the tool of choice for many of you to get a real-time view of your container-level resources. And teams are making insights that they otherwise would be really hard to do using your command line with kubectl or other tools. As that's an example, one customer highlighted how they had this tough situation. Lots of pods of theirs were crashing. It was all over the place on multiple clusters. And trying to troubleshoot on a per cluster basis with the command line was tricky. But with Live Containers, they were able to identify a pattern across these crashing pods across the board and able to correlate it with an AWS EC2 instance type that turned out to be incompatible with their environment. So thanks to Live Containers, as they expressed on our community Slack, they were able to use the bird's eye view of Live Containers to correlate crashing pods across multiple clusters with an incompatible host type. And now I'm excited to introduce you to the next step in our evolution of Live Containers as we move along with your journey as Kubernetes evolves and you evolve. with our new feature called the Related Resources Map, which gives you a real-time view into the relationships between your actual Kubernetes resources. So you're using Kubernetes, and if you want to see how your actual deployments map to your actual replica sets, to your pods, to those containers, am I securing each of those components by namespace or at the cluster level properly? We're giving you a real-time view of that today. So think about the developer that doesn't have all this mental model in their head about how Kubernetes works. They can instantly get this view, saving developer time. In addition, platform engineers are able to equip their teams more to be able to troubleshoot in a self-service way, making Kubernetes, your applications, and your operations surrounding Kubernetes more scalable. So to quickly recap, Kubernetes is increasingly becoming more complex and powerful with its pace of innovation that we just saw, as well as your application microservice architectures are increasingly growing on containers. And to support you on that journey on Kubernetes, we're introducing live containers, related resources map to give you a real-time view of your actual Kubernetes resources. And I encourage you to join me and Ara at our open spaces today at 4:15 p.m. I'm happy to talk to you about this new feature and also how you are evolving your applications on containers. Thank you.